How you doing, everybody? And welcome to another episode of WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock with Carboni podcast. I am your host, WCNC Charlotte Sports Director Nick Carboni. You can, of course, find me on WCNC Charlotte Monday through Friday nights, 6 and 11, and, of course, Sunday night after Sunday Night Football. And we're talking Panthers all the time there. All right, so every week we put these out. They are conversations with people who are from Charlotte or have Charlotte ties and have great sports stories to tell. They've been a blast to put together every week. We've had some really, really fun conversations. Just do us a favor if you can, however you're watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts or wherever. Just hit the subscribe or follow button. That would really do us a solid. So this week's conversation is kind of just something I did not ever envision happening when we started this. Richie Shaffer is a Charlotte native. He started Providence High School. He's a great baseball player there. Was drafted out of high school, but ended up going to Clemson. Was an amazing baseball player for the Tigers. Turned himself into a first-round draft pick and played pro ball for a handful of years, including a couple of years in the major leagues. And he achieved my childhood dream of hitting a home run over the Green Monster at Fenway Park. We're going to talk about all of that. But the reason we are having Richie on this week is because on Thursday, he released a science fiction book that he wrote while he was on all those long road trips in baseball and while he was in all those nights in hotels all across the country as kind of a therapy to get him relaxed and not grind too hard when he wasn't at the ballpark. And it turned into a passion. And now he's got a book. It is called The Eight of Earth. And you can find it on Amazon.com. This is our conversation with Richie Shaffer. All right, Richie, how excited are you for this week to be here and the release of your book to finally come?
It's pretty incredible. I'm not gonna lie. It's been working on this for 4 years now. I've been transitioning from my baseball career into whatever in the world comes next for me. This is not even something that I really expected to actually be able to finish and something that I could actually have something tangible in my hands. So it's been an incredible experience for sure.
Okay, so the book is called The Eight of Earth, correct? Do you have it with you?
I do. I got one right here.
Hold that up there.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's got the not for resale.
You've got the original right there.
Yeah. So it's the proof copy of it. So once we get the full paperback version available on Amazon on the 12th for Thursday. So
this is, I would assume this is like a sci-fi type book. How did this happen? I know. First round Major League Baseball pick and player. This is kind of like off the normal career path for a lot of people who are in this field. So how did this all come about?
Yeah, so obviously I was very fortunate. I got to play professional baseball, play in the major leagues, got to play in the major leagues and minor leagues for close to 8-9 years. And throughout that process, I worked with near the back end of my career. Something that a lot of teams started focusing on was, mental preparation and mental performance, not as much, or on top of physical performance. And so they started implementing some of these performance coaches, mental skills coaches, people that would help you work on, how to focus, how to handle anxiety and tension, the stress that comes with playing professional sports. Because, you're it's pretty high stress stuff when you're going out there, you're stepping foot on a stadium full of 50,000 people and it's, crunch time. You got to be able to figure out how to do some of these things. So I was working about once a week with this performance skills coach. And she was like, hey, listen, you need to find something that's outside of baseball, something way off your radar to help you post game, sort of decompress, take your mind off game so that the stress and anxiety of your days aren't compounding into one another. Mm-hmm. And I tried a couple different things, nothing really clicked. And then I just started writing just on a whim. And I wasn't really doing anything like this. I was just kind of journaling and doing little things. And I found it, pretty therapeutic and I enjoyed it. And then I've had this idea kind of, bouncing around in my head for about 7 years now. Basically the nugget of the story was what would humans be like if they weren't raised by humans and they were raised essentially in a different civilization, would we be the same? Like what parts of humanity are sort of innate and what part of like learned through culture and society? And I just started writing, a couple pages of it. And I had a good buddy on one of my AAA teams who liked reading sci-fi and stuff like that. And I gave him the pages. He's like, hey man, this is pretty good. You should keep going. So I was like, all right, cool. I enjoy doing it. Like post game, it helped me relax. So in 2017, for pretty much every day after games, I would just write another page, another chapter, like whatever. And with no intention of actually writing a book, it was more just like, it really helped me calm down. And I enjoyed like, not coming back to the hotel room or wherever you were and stressing about like the performance of the day. And then I looked up a year later and I basically had this first draft of like 400 pages. Like, oh my gosh, like I had no expectations of it. And then I spent basically the next 3 years trying to make it into what it is now.
Wow. I mean, are you talking about like writing on the team plane, on the team buses as you travel to places as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, I actually put that as part of like my author bio. I mean, there's a quote it's basically saying that like spent the countless hotel room nights, cross-country trips, and never-ending rain delays trying to entertain his teammates with stories. And that's pretty true. I mean, I literally I wrote multiple chapters like wedged into like charter bus seats on flights going across the country at 3 a.m. in hotel rooms, in between rain delays where like it's a 3-hour rain delay. We weren't sure if we were going to go back on the field or not, and it's like you sit there, you don't have anything to do, and a lot of guys are trying to stay focused and stuff, and I would just be on my iPad or my computer, like jot a couple things down. So yeah, I mean, this is a culmination of just a patchwork of about 3 different seasons of stuff. And then finally, once I stepped away from baseball, I was able to kind of like hone it.
So when did the moment come that it was like legitimately, I'm going to publish this book? Like, how do you take that leap?
So I decided to retire last October. And honestly, it's the fact that it's November right now and I've been done almost a full year is kind of crazy. It just hasn't really hit me. So I went back to finish my college degree at Clemson. I left as a junior out of there and I only had a semester left, and it was something important to like go back and finish my degree. So I'm thinking, okay, like I'm going back to school right now and I have this like window of time that I'm not sure I'll ever have again. And that was sort of the big thing, was like, I don't know if I'll ever have this window of time in my life to where I can dedicate something like the time it needs to do something like this. And, I think it was then, not on top of that, then, with COVID and sort of the quarantining and the lockdowns, and a lot of people were sort of, indoors as it was sort of the perfect storm. It's like, hey, like you have this opportunity and utilize it, capitalize it. So I think it was probably around, I don't know, maybe April, where I was like, okay, like we can really do this. If you just lock in, we can do this.
I would not be a good interviewer if I did not cyber stalk you just a little bit. And I think perfect. You have a map that you created of this kind of fictional world.
Yeah. Yep.
That right at the start. I mean, so this is kind of like, I guess all sci-fi is it's another place that you've kind of created, a world that you've created. Is it fun to kind of get lost in that? Is that kind of part of the appeal to it? Yeah.
So, I mean, I've always been, sort of this, kind of out there personality, man. I think if I were to talk to any of my teammates in clubhouses, I was always that kind of guy. I was kind of that big personality in the locker rooms as it was. But yeah, so it's funny, like that map I drew, I had it time-stamped on my phone. I was just kind of scrolling through my phone photos the other day when I posted it, and it said December 15th, 2013. So I came up with this like just crazy world, almost 7 years ago now to this point. And I love doing that. It was part of, the adventure of trying to figure out this whole new world. And part of it is basically, I'm like, what if there was this society that kind of mirrored Earth? It was sort of influenced by Earth, but it wasn't. So it was like familiar enough, but there was parts of it that like were completely foreign. So, I mean, I loved digging into that and sort of just kind of seeing where all those threads took me, for sure. It was awesome.
And tell us about what this book is about. The review looks super exciting. It just looks like it kind of has everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, the book is called The Age of Earth, and it follows essentially the last 8 humans in existence that are the product of a failed mission to relocate humanity to another planet. It's set in the far future, and there's just a massive drought that's basically made Earth uninhabitable. And the last, sort of colony of humans have to try to, set out to space to find a new planet to habitate and basically restart humanity. There's something that happens on the journey there that basically causes the extinction of mankind. And this advanced technology, those are essentially artificial wombs, allows these 8 humans to be born on another planet in an intelligent society. And these 8 humans are born and basically are trying to resurrect mankind, because essentially if they don't do it and once they're gone, then humanity is extinct forever. So it's about humanity and sort of the isolation that we can feel, and how much essentially as human beings we sort of need to lean on each other no matter how hard we try not to. So
good message for right now, that's for sure.
For sure. I mean, definitely it sort of explores a lot about it's a little more, it's got a little more heart and soul than a normal sci-fi. It's not like this cold, military style, like space battle thing. It's very human. It has a lot of heart to it. And it's about basically just people, needing to care for one another to, sort of get through life, because life can be really difficult no matter what your situation is. So
what did you learn about actually publishing a book that, nobody really knows until they go about doing it?
Oh man, I learned a lot. So it was kind of a crash course for me, obviously, because I didn't know what I was doing for a lot of time. I had a great editor a freelance editor I hired, and she was fantastic. Her name is Sarah Cole Williams, and she was amazing. She helped me through a lot of this process. But one of the beautiful things about, like technology now is that you can do a lot of this on your own. So I'm doing all of it basically through Amazon, which I don't think, this book might not have been a possibility, maybe 10 years ago or so. You would have had to go through all the traditional routes, and just who knows what could have happened. And a big thing that I had was like, when you're playing professional sports, you don't have a ton of control over your career. There's a lot of people that make a lot of decisions about the path you're on. And that was one thing I didn't want to do here. It's like, hey, like if I succeed on my own, that's great. If I fail on my own, that's great. But I'm going to be in control of how this goes, what's part of it. So what I learned is basically, I think you can go out and just do it. Like there's no barrier. Like if you, all it takes is finishing. That's really all it takes. Just finishing, and then doing a little bit of research online on how to format the book. And that was honestly the most difficult part, learning how to like format the interior of it. I mean, I hired a design studio to do the cover, and I think they did a fantastic job with it. So, I mean, the beautiful part of it is that, the opportunities are there. You just kind of have to seize them.
Let's circle back to that in a second and talk a little bit of baseball. Grew up in Charlotte, went to Providence High School, on to Clemson, and then in the major leagues. Was that like your first love, baseball? Did you play multiple sports? When did that kind of seize your life a little bit, as it does?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those kids that basically had a bat in his hand since he was 2 years old. Like basically from the moment I could stand, I had a bat, and I was like hitting wiffle balls in the basement and stuff. So yeah, baseball was, pretty much, in my blood from the moment I could stand. I played a little bit of football, like when I was like I always claimed that I was the backup JV quarterback at Providence. Big B, what's up? And so I always joke around. I was like, yeah, I could have been a football superstar. I just never pursued it. So, but the good thing is I never actually had to go out there and play, so you don't really have to prove it. But yeah, baseball is always my love. And I was super fortunate that I got to do, all that I did. I got to play at Providence, one of the best, high school programs in Charlotte, and at Clemson, one of the best universities, and then got, very fortunate to get to play in the major league. So, I mean, I was completely blessed by baseball. It was an incredible experience for sure.
What was, looks like I didn't cyber stalk you for this one. Baseballreference.com is a great resource. But August 3rd, 2015, that was your first day in the big leagues at Chicago. What is it like to get called up to the major leagues, as millions of kids dream about?
Yeah, I mean, it is, I'm trying to be a writer here, and it's pretty indescribable, honestly. Like it is, there's not very many words that you can string together to kind of describe just the level of, especially for someone like myself who was, from the day he could stand up, dreamt of doing this. Right. And so it's, the validation and culmination of, your entire life's work, basically getting that satisfaction of being able to step foot on the field. It's pretty incredible. And honestly, one of the most incredible moments is just like the first time that you run out on the field and you get to like look around, you see the stadium, and you're standing. I'll never forget, my favorite player growing up was Cal Ripken Jr. That's always why I wore number 8 all the time. And I got to play third base in Baltimore, and I just remember standing at third base and standing in the dirt and be like, man, like this is where Cal Ripken stood. This is incredible. So it's it's something I'll cherish forever. And it's just, the joy and the, happiness that brings from that moment is next to none.
Was your first hit a home run?
It was.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was. I know.
What was that like?
So listen, I had first it was a home run. Then I had like a viral meme that went around. I got the silent treatment in the dugout and did a bunch of air fives. I had a big viral meme going around for a long time. It was basically people just used it where it's like when you say something funny in the group chat and no one responds. It was just like me just high-fiving nobody, just getting ignored by my teammates. So it was good. But first hit was a home run. It was awesome. Couldn't believe it. I mean, I remember hitting it and watching it, like, oh my God, is that gonna go? And then sure enough, it did. It was awesome.
Do you get the ball back, or is that?
I do. Yeah, I got the ball. I got the ball back there behind me. Yeah, I got some of my game bat. It's kind of hard to see over there, but it's mounted. The bat that I used right there, it's mounted on the side or everything. So I got to keep all that stuff. So it's pretty incredible and stuff that I'm definitely gonna hang on to forever.
I got to tell you, you realize one of my personal dreams, hitting a home run over the Green Monster, because I'm from up that way. I watch every game, so I probably was not too happy about it when it happened. But that's gotta be a good memory too.
Yeah, honestly, I almost think that I enjoy that one more than my first home run, if I'm being completely honest. Because what kid doesn't dream of hitting the ball over the monster, right? That's like one of the coolest things of all time. Probably, the quintessential baseball park. And the best part of that park, hitting the ball over the monster. So not only was it the coolest park ever, probably my best ball I've ever hit in my life too.
It was a bomb.
Yeah, it was way. I mean, I crushed this thing.
You did not get that one back. I know that.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that one back. No, that was in the lobby of the
it's on the casting flag and bar.
Yeah. So I mean, I talk about like that one is probably my favorite moment, honestly, just because of the history involved in that stadium and everything, for sure.
All right, so are we going to get some more Richie Shaffer books? Are there sequels? What are you working on now? Or is this kind of just like, see what happens with this one?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'm a real fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy, so I don't know. We'll see. So, I mean, the thing is, this took me so long to make. I have stories that are just constantly in my head, and I have ideas for others, and I've even begun to, write here and there. And I think it's difficult because I always want to do it as a hobby. But it just depends on, what the next couple years look like for me. And if this is something that I can turn into, a passion project that I can, do for a long time, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to do it. But maybe, if it's something that I can't, I'll always write. But I'm hoping that, the response to this is, good and people enjoy it and they want more. And I would love to do that because I enjoy writing so much and I constantly have stories, just all over in my head. And I'd love to get them out there. I'd love to write a movie. I've always talked about wanting to write a sequel to Bull Durham, because I played for the Durham Bulls.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, you've got the inside, for years. Got the modernization.
Yes, it needs to be. There hasn't been a good baseball comedy in years, and I would love to I'd love to be a part of Bull Durham too somehow. I've been talking about that for years now, so I don't know. We will see. We'll see what comes down the turnpikes. I'm not quite sure. We will see. Right. I hope so.
So I got to get this one in there. I mean, you've probably got it in your head who would play in the movie of this book, right? So like. Right. Who would you love to see star in The Eight of Earth?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean,
I'll wait for the option and then you can pursue
when I was going through and like developing out the characters and stuff, you definitely do some of that, right? You sort of try to visualize who they are, and you kind of take some, you take celebrities and actors and try to put faces to names on and stuff like that. The funny thing is, with a lot of the characters, I actually left their descriptions super, super vague, because I felt like it's something where like it's better for the reader to sort of like picture what they want these people to look like than to give them very concrete description stuff. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, shoot, maybe I just make the jump over to Hollywood. I'll start with my own movie. It's like, why not? We did baseball, we did the book, we can go over there. Just do it all. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe someone for like the lead. Maybe someone like James McAvoy. I like him. I think he's sharp. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't thought too much about it because, like I said, the descriptions are purposefully open-ended.
Mm-hmm. What was it like when you got your hands on that copy right there?
Oh man, it was incredible. So it was one of those things where like it all kind of came together super fast. Yeah. And like I was working, I was telling my wife, like, babe, like I think I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's right there. But the last, 5% of all the editing and stuff were just taking months to like get every last little string tied neatly in a bow. And I'm such a perfectionist as it is. That's just a product of baseball as it was. I'm such like a detail-oriented perfectionist. So it was like, took so long. And then at one point I was like, I think I'm done. And I just ordered a proof copy, didn't think much of it. And then like 2 days later it showed up and I was like, oh man, like this thing's here. Like this looks great. Like, oh my gosh, it's like, this is a real full-fledged thing. And I see my like picture on the back and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was, honestly, it felt very similar to when I got called up for the very first time, because this is something that was a challenge unlike anything I'd really ever done. It was something that was so far out of my comfort zone, so far beyond something that I had done. If you told me, 6-7 years ago, I'd have a full-fledged, sci-fi epic, I would say you're crazy, right? Like that's just not something that I ever, pictured being capable of accomplishing. And just proving to yourself and proving to myself that, I'm more than just a baseball player was something incredible. I mean, that's my dedication in the book is to anyone ready to reinvent themselves. Cause that's what I feel like I'm doing, is trying to reinvent myself. Cause for a long time, my identity was, tied up as a baseball player. And now when that's over, you're like, okay, like now who are you? What are you? Right? Like we gotta keep progressing as a human being. So yeah.
All right, man. Just real important stuff. Where can people get this book? When can they get it? Pre-order, and then obviously when it comes out on the 12th.
Yeah. It'll be exclusively on Amazon. You go on Amazon, type The Age of Earth by Richie Shaffer, or Richie Shaffer, it should pull right up. It'll be available in paperback and ebook on Thursday, November 12th. The link for pre-orders for ebooks are available now. My Twitter is @rshaf8. RSHAFF8, and there's links to all the stuff there. But yeah, it'll be exclusively through Amazon. The good news is it's print on demand. So if you want a copy of paperback, you print, like you order it, they print it right then. Amazon Prime ship it to you in 2 days, whatever it is. If you want an ebook, you click on it, they deliver it to you right away. So available on Amazon, The Age of Earth. It is a heartfelt adventure with a lot of fun and a lot of emotion. And I'm very just proud of it. And I think that you enjoy it. So.
That was a blast. And Richie has obviously got a great future ahead of him, whether it's, writing movies, acting in his own movies. I mean, you just get the idea that he's got a lot of energy and passion behind this and behind whatever he does. So really thank him for taking the time to talk about that book and everything else. Thank you for listening and watching. And again, if you could just hit subscribe or follow, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, that would be awesome. And we'll keep bringing you these great conversations. They've been a lot of fun for me to do here on WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock podcast. We'll talk to you next week.